Okay, well, that's it. Lovely, thank you. Welcome everybody to the Civic Events Working Party meeting being held on Monday the 7th of July. Usual thing that any decisions taken here will be passed through to Leisure and Community unless it's under delegated powers by the park. So apologies for absence, please. Colin?
I don't have any apologies for absence I'm aware of.
Okay. Declaration of interest, request for dispensation, anyone? No. Minutes of the previous meeting held on the it says 25th of March, but it was held on the 20th of May.
Yeah.
So the agenda's wrong.
Do you want me to share that?
Unless people are happy to go with it. There's nothing untoward on there. We're going to be discussing most of it anyway. So why don't we just get a proposal? Well, what about the proposed by Tony Brown, Councillor Brown, seconded by Councillor Davison. All those in favour, please show. It's fine, thank you. Matters arising not on the agenda. I don't think there's anything on there that we're not going to be discussing anyway, so we can skip that. So, going straight through to item number 6, which is the review of items. Armed Forces Day, first of all. So, any comments on Armed Forces Day? Councillor Brown, to start with, any thoughts?
Yeah. Yes, thanks, Chair. Yeah, I just thought it was another really good day, and yeah, I really appreciate everyone's efforts, and so did all the vehicle owners. Yeah, tremendous effort from everyone. There's some terrific stalls there. Yeah, it was a really good day. Sarah, thanks very much for all your hard work. You was everywhere and anywhere, so that's very much appreciated. One bit of feedback I did have from the drivers and some members of the public was that the convoy route wasn't that long. I know it's the second time we've done that, but just looking at routes, and I just wondered just to extend it a little bit longer by going, instead of turning right and going down sort of Clements Lane by the wreck, continuing on along the top of the Clement State Greenfields Way, sorry, then down onto Burton End Camps Road junction and swing a right there, and then that will bring it. It just means that it's about double the length that we would do approximately, and I think it would only involve 2 more volunteers standing on the junction of Greenfields Way and Camps Road at that junction, and one at the junction with Northern Avenue. It just means then that people from Clements Estate have an opportunity to get there and come out. Also, the people at the bottom of the parkway, where that bit of the parkway is, and also yeah, along Camps Road, we obviously come along there a bit longer. So anyways, plenty of time to think about it, but just a suggestion.
Okay. I mean, my only thought on that, Councillor Brown, is, and Gary will probably say this as well, is that we struggled intensely for even just to man the existing route this time.
Yeah.
We had to use members of the staff from the square, which we were intending to leave them there. Our tech team had to go away. So we were really struggling for staff and volunteers.
Yeah, so I'm saying I think we'd only need 2 more, and
you can have them.
Yeah, I know, but I say we can try,
Well, if we're going to do that, I mean, do we start? What about the rest of the town? All the people who live north of?
Well, I'm just saying it's a compromise.
No,
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we can think about it. We'll have to technically.
Yeah, I mean,
Go
I've got no issues with. I think the key thing is, I think we need to strike a balance between the length and the availability of the team and everybody. And I think we're all correct here. Is that we'd like a longer route. I think the key to it is volunteers along the way. So having a number of volunteers, we've lost quite a few volunteers over the last couple of years. So yeah, I'm definitely up for like having a look at the route again, and then we can kind of like work with it depending on what the numbers of staff that we actually have. So yeah,
Yeah.
cool. We can investigate that for next year.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Anybody else on Armed Forces Day? I thought it went pretty well. Obviously,
I felt it was a bit quieter this year with the public attending.
there's a lot of other events on,
Yeah.
similar events now.
I mean, should we touch on the helicopter, which seemed to be a star attraction, and it was a definite plus for the event itself.
Yeah. Turned up on time, obviously went on time. It was an attraction. I chatted to the guys there. They were saying that they will not bring it back next year because they don't have the same thing every year in the same location. So they said we'll probably find something else to bring instead, which is a good thing. As we know, last year they brought their truck, which went over to Felixstowe, I think, or Lowestoft, one of the two. So hopefully they'll come back next year. Where's how they moved about? I thought the gazebos on the. I mean, one was we didn't. For some reason we didn't seem to fill up the market square as much as we did last year. I don't know if that was because we had less vehicles or maybe less smaller vehicles. I don't know. We still wouldn't have got the gazebos on a number of gazebos, I don't think. But I think that generally worked well. I think Brian and Charmian, you're probably the people who were around the side there. Any thoughts?
I mean, to be honest, I thought it worked quite well. The only thing I would say is that we had 2 or 3 incidents where people fell over the stones, the sloping stones where we were at the bottom end. And I would suggest that if we go down that route again next year, then perhaps put all the gazebos up by the path, the garden path, so they don't have to step over the slight incline, the stones.
Yeah, I understand where you are. Yeah.
I think we had to call the medic on one occasion.
No, that was because someone got run over by
somebody in a motorised.
mobility scooter.
But that was because there wasn't a lot of room in that corner for them to reverse.
Yeah.
So it's just a thought. Perhaps next year we'll follow the pathway.
Yeah. Okay.
Other than that, I thought it went quite well.
All right.
Yeah.
I've not heard any complaint. My only thing to state, which was brought to my attention, and I have asked Tim Passmore about this, is the police cadets are being disbanded in Haverhill, not in Bury, not in Sudbury, and various other places, not in Martlesham, not in Ipswich. I have asked Tim for an explanation. He said it's not his decision. It was made by the constabulary, suggesting it might be something to do with volunteers to be able to run it. It's more likely the fact we only have 4 members of the community policing team in Haverhill and they got 10 in Bury. So they have more people available. Something we might want to bring up as a council to the constabulary, considering we were the first town in the whole of the country to get them. and as they obviously attended Armed Forces Day, and there's many other events. So if it's a case of volunteers, I would have thought they need to find some members of staff who do. It didn't help, of course, that the Suffolk Fire and Rescue pulled out of it as well, primarily because they the county council basically are saying that if you want to use their facilities, you have to pay for them. So that's something to think about next year. We won't have the police cadets. Can I ask one question though? Did we invite the army cadets? Sarah, do you know?
Yeah, I saw a comment on Facebook going, "Oh, why have they been excluded?" But they're never excluded. They get they're on our email database.
That's fine. That's fine.
So I wanted to reply with all my heart, but I
no. Well, I diplomatically replied to one question. I said normally they've been on their summer camp, but I just wanted to make sure which is fine.
But even if the email went into their spam box or whatever, it's been going now for 9 years, hasn't it? So if they wanted to be involved, they would definitely be involved.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. I never saw any bad, other than the question. I don't know whether it was on the other Facebook page, whether there's any adverse comments or anything. But
I haven't seen any.
that's fine.
But as everyone knows, it's all a massive group effort. So it's well done, us, everybody.
Yeah, no, it was good one done. I was pleased it went off, and the weather stayed decent, of course.
A bit too decent.
Let's move on then.
Sorry, John. Quick.
Sorry.
About members of the public, the numbers. Was it you that said that the Armed Forces Commissioner had been over to Ipswich that morning and said there was only a handful of people at their event in Ipswich, and said that the Haverhill event was so much better, it's the best he'd been to. I did notice that the crowd did thin out quite quickly. Well, not quite quickly, sort of time does seem to fly when you're sort of when the day's going on, but I think it was the heat. It was so hot. I think people had went round to see what they wanted to do, and it was just too hot to hang around, so they went home, had an ice cream and one thing and another. So I think down to it.
We have said in the past about whether it goes on too long, because after that 1 o'clock flag raising, and I do apologise, we didn't, for some reason, we didn't have the national anthem to play. I don't know what happened there. We were supposed to have done. But after that, it did thin out a bit, and I think people just go for lunch and in the pub or whatever they're doing. Andrew Smith, the Armed Forces Commissioner, he was really good. He came over for the flag raising at the beginning of the week, and and he turned up. As you said, he'd been over to Ipswich. I think he said to me they had about 10 people there. He says, because it wasn't at all advertised, and he was really impressed with us.
But I walked up the town at the time, and the town was buzzing. It was like the old days down there on that Saturday. So it did bring people down to the town, and they might have only gone there for 5 minutes, but they went there, got a cup of coffee, etc., etc. I know Andy with the burger store actually sold out of burgers. So
it does. When the sun comes out, they do tend to come down, but that's what they're doing. They're coming down for something to bite to eat or something. There's no shop. So, Brian.
Yeah, I was just going to say, historically, it always is quiet in the afternoon. Any event I've been involved with, it's always quiet in the afternoon. Should we consider perhaps having the time from 10 till 2 rather than 11 till 3? I know logistically that makes it a bit difficult in the morning, but whenever we've set up for 11 o'clock start, we've always had Joe Public coming onto our stall well before the official 11 o'clock start.
I'm 10 till 2 for me would be a little bit better. I think we could then have the flag, the convoy at 10 and the flag raising at 12, maybe. I don't know. What do you think, Sarah? Any thoughts?
I don't have any particular thoughts. I'm happy to go with the flow.
What does the other think? I think it'd be worthwhile trying.
I would say just throw something into the mix. Compromise 10:30 to 2:30.
That would give us extra time for the setting up and the logistics in the morning.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair comment, because I think it was around about 2:30 that people started drifting off and even packing up the stalls. So that may be a good compromise.
Yeah, well, I was going around before 3, just saying, pack up because there's nobody here. But it was noticeable after the flag raising, it thinned out tremendously. But equally, those people who have been out shopping in the morning somewhere else want to come down and have a look. Well, with something to think about for next year. We've got plenty of time, as has been said already. If we're happy, we'll move on to 6 Bravo, which is Suffolk Day. Actually, nothing really much happened other than my raising the flag and taking it down in the evening. Other than one member of the public who was not native to this country, was sat on the benches with his partner, saw me putting it up, and I was very impressed because he said, "Oh, that's the Union flag. Oh, that's the Suffolk flag," and I was quite impressed with that because I think most people wouldn't even know what it was. I guess there's no comments on. Go on, Councillor Brown.
Yeah, just a quick one. I heard from a few people that the only real Suffolk Day events or stuff was around Suffolk County Council pushing the one Suffolk unitary.
Well, yes, I think it
so,
was. Yeah.
yeah.
I have no idea how the event went over in Ipswich.
Apparently, there's a lot of stuff around how wonderful Suffolk is. Wouldn't it be great if we just had one council?
Oh,
yeah. Yeah.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
Right, let's move on to the more important stuff. Civic events, the rest of the civic events for the rest of this year. Obviously, the first one is VJ80. There is a slight error on the agenda. Is on VJ80, we've got flag raising on the 15th, morning of the 15th, 0900, similar to VE Day. And then on the 21st is we've got the event in St Mary's at 7 o'clock in the evening. Because we can't have it on the 15th because we've got Hippie. So just to clarify that. So in terms of the flag raising, I'm assuming we're just going to do the same as before, raise the 3 flags, 3 Union flags, unless anyone else got any comments. I don't think there is actually a VJ80 dedicated flag. Are we going to, excuse me, we're going to put the banners back up on the Market Square at least, Colin?
Yes, I think we said to Highways that we'd put them back up in September. Sorry, August rather.
August, yeah. Okay, yeah. Even if it's just for that event, would be nice.
Sorry, Chair. What evening did you say the church service is on?
21st.
21st
of August.
Yeah.
7 o'clock.
Is there a proclamation for the flag raising again? The government. Is there an equivalent?
I don't think so. I've not seen anything. I did check the government website the other day.
Because that worked quite nicely for VE Day, but I know VJ Day is a bit different.
Yes. Just having a quick look. VJ Day. Top tip towns for VE Day. That's good when it's talking about VJ Day. They're being a bit not very informative for VJ. Well, mind you, they weren't very informative for VE until the very last minute.
Chair, we amended the proclamation, added to it for VE Day.
Yes.
So there's no reason why we couldn't do something similar
Yeah.
and ask David Hart if he's around to read it again. Don't know if that will suit him. It might do.
He might not be around. He's away end of July, beginning of August, but
Yeah.
it'd be worth speaking to him.
And the other point is really it was VJ Day, but it's also the end of the war, full stop. You know that. So yeah, I think we need to mention that as well.
Actually, well, the end of the war actually was signed on the 2nd of September, wasn't it? Yeah, I don't think there's. I'm just having a look at. Very little on the government websites. As I say, they left it till last minute, but they're leaving it a bit late this time. I mean, last time I didn't even know there was going to be any TV coverage until the last minute. So maybe we can draw something up. Am I going to leave that to you, Charmin, in your usual?
Well,
maybe
you can do, and I'll see what I can come up with.
I know you're busy with doing all the other stuff. Unless anyone else wants to write a proclamation. I can't see anyone jumping for volunteers there.
I'm sorry, Charmaine, because I'm the one who raised it, but you did such a lovely job last time.
Oh, it's not a problem. I'll have a look at what we did for VE Day and see how it can be amended. I'm sure it won't be too difficult.
Rod and Back comes to mind, yeah. Anyway, so for the 21st, so on the 15th morning, we'll do the usual same thing. Obviously, I'll need the PA again, Max, if you wouldn't mind charging it up. I assume you're around on the 15th?
Yes, yeah, I'm planning to be there, yeah.
That's fine. I'll bring all the usual equipment down. Where's Vicky? Are we going to invite people as like we did last time?
You want me to?
I think so. I think,
I'll need
If
some
we
work.
don't, someone's going to be upset, or people will be upset. So it's better to send invites out than not.
And if we could start thinking about getting it out on social media as well, please.
And can I have some wording, please, sent over for the invite?
Yeah, I think it'll be very similar to the VE one. Could you resend us the VE one? Because I think I've deleted the email now. I don't know if I have or not.
Will that invitation also take into account the flag raising and the evening event? Kill two birds with one stone?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
BJBE. Oh no, I've got the one from last time. I put it in my folder. I'll amend that, Vicky, and send it back to you. That's all right. Yep. Anyone else? Yeah, because the last one actually spoke about the flag raising in the morning and obviously the evening event. Right, on the 21st, 7 o'clock in the evening, we are at the moment working on a thing, event, which at the moment runs for about an hour and 20 minutes. It consists of some music by Richard Hart. We're trying not to make it as, and I hope Max excuses me, not so much singing and dancing, as it were. So we're starting off with something on the piano. I think you mentioned Charmian. We got 8 readings, and it's following on from and correct me if I'm wrong, Charmian. It's following on from the VE one where we finished doing
We finished with talking about two brothers, one who was a German prisoner of war and one was a Far East prisoner of war.
Correct.
So we're picking up the story with
Right,
Archie,
right,
who
yeah,
is the
right.
Far East
With
prisoner of war.
the Pinnell, sorry, I'm just
Mm.
finding the paperwork. I'm looking at the wrong paperwork.
Mm.
Yes, we do that. So we're working through the Singapore surrender and the reason for it, you know, being there, and also the but prior to that, talking about what happened in Singapore and everything. Then again, similar, what is happening just prior to the announcement that Japan had signed the surrender document. Then how it was celebrated, and finally the who had survived coming home. But interspersed with that, they will be all readings. There will be slides like it was last time on the screen, and in between that will be several roll calls which I filmed already. That's what I did in the art centre a couple of weeks ago. And they will have slides of those people's names. So they will be people who served out in the Far East and came home. And then towards the end is those who served out in the Far East and sadly never came home. And there will be some videos which we found on, or I haven't found online, of not music from the time, but relevant music, I think is probably the word to use. It'll be top and tailed by Max, hopefully doing an introduction and a thanks very much at the very end. As I say, we're timing at the moment about an hour and 20 minutes. We're trying to cut it down a bit, and I have got some more editing to do to cut it down a little bit more. So, thoughts, please.
We have several readings, and as it's a civic event, it would be very nice to have some people from the council or from here volunteering to read. Is there anybody who would like to put their hand up now?
Colin's not available. He's already told me that.
You're not Colin. Okay.
Which is fine.
I'm on annual leave.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Tony, I've already got your name down.
Yeah, you've already volunteered, you, Tony.
And Bruce, your arm is up, twisted up the back. Are you available?
Possibly, but I'm taking someone to the airport and I'm desperately looking to see what time their flight is.
Okay.
Can I come back to you on that?
You can do, of course you can.
Okay.
We have volunteered the mayor as well to do one of the readings, assuming he's around. Other than that, we'll have to find some other people. There were it's actually nine. I think it's no 8 readings, but yeah, I think it's 8 readings.
Yeah, they're not all particularly long readings.
No. I mean, most of them only a minute and a half maximum. Some even less. Probably take longer to get to the lectern than it will to actually read them. Some of them, but there will be. We're hoping that, and Charmian has sent me 2 emails today actually with which I've got to now edit into the video for the first 2 readings. I actually want 1 reading and whatever it is.
No, 2. I've just sent you another one.
You have. I've just seen it. Yeah. Sorry. For the first bit of music and the 2 readings. So he's doing stalwart service, generating all this stuff. So hopefully it'll be interesting like the last one. But I'm really conscious of we ended up doing this ourselves. Did anyone any thoughts? Any changes or no? All right, we'll just continue then generating the most of it probably will be video this time, I think, on the screen, but hopefully it'll keep people entertained. And I'm hoping there'll be a little bit of I think one of the songs should be a bit of a sing along anyway.
Yeah, on that, could we possibly do We'll Meet Again? I thought that was really good last time, very emotive, and a lot of people started singing along with that,
Yeah,
Just
that was sort of more to do with being under pressure of the war rather than the end of the war.
Well,
I understand what you're saying, but we've got a lot in already. We're conscious we've got.
I'm just saying my two penny's worth, John.
No, I understand.
Yeah,
I understand,
I'm
but
just
I
saying.
think
Yeah, a lot of people died from Haverhill and that, and it'd be a nice postscript, really, is just for that, is
well,
to remember all those people that died.
yeah, well, we have got the last part of it is
The captive's prayer.
the captives, yeah, hymn, if you like, which is it's because obviously that part of the thing was a lot of the people were captive.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Yeah. I just noticed the last time a lot of people actually just impromptu, started singing along with "We'll Meet Again," and I think they enjoyed that song.
Yeah, I think we got
the
one
context.
of the songs will.
I think we can look into that, Chair, but I think the problem is fitting it in with the relevant
yeah
in the programme itself, Tony.
It was played by the Silver Band, and we have one more piece that they recorded for us, and we put that in.
Yes.
So it would probably mean replacing that with something that people have heard before, but we can certainly consider it.
We've also got another video which I think
Has words,
which runs for 2 minutes 42 seconds.
They'll always be in England.
Correct. Yeah. We could always which has got words on the screen.
Mm.
So I mean that might be quite good to sing along.
Yeah.
So at the moment, as I say, it runs for about an hour and 20 minutes. I'm just trying to think of but along the similar sort of lines. So hopefully it'll go well. We're going to film it again as well. Obviously the people physically reading and try and make a composite video out of it in the end. I don't know how some of the videos may end up being copyright tagged, but we'll have to keep an eye on that, see what happens. They're old enough songs that hopefully they won't worry about it too much. Right. Any other thoughts on that?
Yeah. Just sorry, John.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, just are we going to have a VJ Day exhibition at all, Shine, Brian?
Oh, no, strange you say that, because is it Suffolk in Building Society that's in the town? They popped in last week and they would like to put something up in their window. So all the Far East casualties who didn't come back, whose photographs were in the art centre and they've been taken down, we're going to use those and probably develop something else to go in their window about the names of the people who came back. So there will be a display in that shop window.
Yeah.
Whether Peasgood and Skeet still have something up or not, I don't know. But we've got to go in and see them about our boards anyway, haven't we?
We do have a small exhibition in the museum in the art centre at the moment, and we're hoping, keeping fingers crossed, we're hoping to get some artefacts from the museum in Bury Edmunds.
Yeah.
One of our members is on the case.
There's a good fan there that was made by one of the prisoners of war. Well, he was actually I didn't realise it's a prisoner of war. He was actually our RSM when I was in army, Suffolk. Yeah, and he basically made a fan of all the different places he went as a prisoner of war. It's in the Suffolk Regiment Museum. It's quite really motivating, really. But it was just weird. His name was Chalice. And he was our, Suffolk ACF RSM, and I can remember him. He made that while he was a prisoner of war. Yeah, that's in the museum. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much. We've only got a month or so away. I don't know if there's going to be a lot of time to organise anything. But that's, I'm afraid I have to leave that to Brian and Charmian again.
That's just when it was the 75th anniversary. There was a really nice exhibition that you put on then. That was good. Yeah.
I don't think it was 75 because it was COVID.
Yeah.
Or 70th.
Maybe 70.
He had a load of stuff, and it was in the history room. And
Yeah, we did, Tony. You're right,
Yeah.
because we had copies of some cards
yes,
that had been given to Percy Shearman, I think, and
that's it.
and it may well be that they appear again.
Yeah. Yeah, I just found those cards, they had nothing in there, and they basically had the time to write and make those cards in appreciation of what he did.
Well, it was 50.
alive.
He had his 50th birthday out there.
Yeah.
That's the incredible thing.
Yeah, and you just see that and you think, wow, yeah.
Okay. Right. Well, obviously everyone's welcome to both events on 15th and 21st of August. Any other comments on VJ?
John, have you organised people to raise the flags?
Not physical people yet.
Okay.
It was a bit of a lastminute.com for armed forces as well, wasn't it? Yeah. Any thoughts on flag raisers? Are the RBL going to be there?
Just a quick thought. What about 3 relatives of people that were out in Japan or captured or didn't come back? It must be.
Oh yeah, we got, well, that's what the roll calls were. The ones we videoed, they were
we can certainly find people for that.
Yeah, at least 3 of, well, actually those 3 people were they were related to people who either came back or didn't come back,
And Jack Walker, who lives in Keddington as well, it was his uncle, I think, was Eric Thake. So yeah, I think there's quite a selection of people locally that could do that potentially.
I don't have contact details for those, Charmaine, so you know what I'm going to say.
Okay, I'll give you them.
Sorry. Sorry. Right, let's move on then, if we're happy with that. Remembrance Sunday, the 9th of November. And I'm going to include in this, there'll obviously be the RBL thing on the Tuesday, the 11th, outside the front of the church. I'm assuming, not heard anything, but I'm assuming as usual, 11 a.m. So 9th of November, probably not a lot to say about it because nothing changed.
No, for the record, the application went in and it's come back from Suffolk. So as usual, towards the time I'll get in touch with them.
Yeah, for the road closures. Any changes anybody wants this year? Any thoughts? Invites, Vicky. Well, you normally send them out about September time, don't you? Vicky, about September, yeah, roughly about then. Obviously, Max, I'm assuming you'll be there doing will you churches together, or will it be?
Yes, I'll be there, and I can invite some of the other clergy as well to take part.
Okay. I'm assuming. Sorry, Vicky. Sorry.
Max, the mayor was quite keen to have the I've forgotten his name, Father John involved.
Father John, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's normally, or is, isn't he? That hopefully. I'm I'm assuming we want to film it, live stream it again this year. Anybody adverse to it? Councillor Lucarini, are you there?
I am.
What do you think?
Well, certainly can do.
Yeah. Well, you end up being director, so.
Yeah, I don't mind. I'm happy to do it.
All right. Well, if we do, then obviously we need tech team. I don't know who organises that. Sarah, is that you? So you're muted.
Yes.
Yes, I.
The answer.
I'm sure you said more than yes, but yeah, okay, that's fine. We could do that. Usual time, 3 o'clock. Nobody wants it at 11 o'clock, do they? I mean, it has been complaints in the past, and then why we do it at 11 o'clock,
But if we want the
a band, we can't.
boys brigade, yeah.
Sorry, excuse my yeah, okay. If nobody's going, then let's move very quickly on then.
Sorry, can I just ask,
sorry,
do you want me to have a chat with the Silver Band to see about glass post?
Yeah, please, if Tim or Archie or one of them.
Okay.
And I guess also
they have got the date, so I'm sure that they'll sort somebody out to play.
Yeah.
But of course, Tim's not any longer with the Silver Band.
Oh, is he not?
He may still play for us, so.
Okay, I didn't know he wasn't.
Mm.
And presumably for the RBL event as well.
Yeah, I usually do the 2 dates.
Yeah.
It may be that we use Ivy for the
RBL.
The 11th.
Yeah.
One.
Yeah, she was very good at that brass ability, wasn't she?
Yeah. Well, it depends if Archie can get out of school.
Yes,
I'm sure Vanessa will let him.
Tuesday,
but
yes. Yeah. Okay. Right. If we're happy with that, let's move on then to civic service, which is sort of outside my thing. Vicky and Max. Any thoughts?
We've got a date to meet, haven't we, Vicky? With the mayor in August, so we'll know a bit more after that.
Okie dokie. Have we confirmed it's the 3rd of December, haven't we?
Yes.
Yeah, because the agenda keeps talking about the 3rd or 10th. Okay, so just make sure it's the 3rd. Right. Anybody else got any other things they want to discuss at all about civic? No. In that case, the date of next meeting is Monday, the 13th of October. Seems a long way away, but I guess by then we'll have the VJ event and we'll be coming up towards the last bits of remembrance. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. I'll close the meeting at. Was there anything else?